You've unlocked New Game Plus in Speedrun mode that can be activated when starting a new game. New skins, gameplay model. It's gonna be a while till I play this game again. It was when I beat it last Friday, it was my official second playthrough. I had not played it since it first came out. New skins, gameplay modifiers, filter modes, and other bonus content are available in Extras menu. Ooh, I might check that out now real quick just to see. For a new challenge, take on roguelike runs through randomized combat encounters and no return. There we go, no return. I was trying to remember what the game mode was called. Yeah, the game menu screen. This changes after you beat the game. So, extras. What's in here? Play the guitar with no goal or time limit. Try alternate instruments, characters, and guitar effects. Word? What? Earn points and unlock unique content by finding collectibles, earning trophies, progressing in no return, and completing the story. Okay. Ellie and Abby, because those are the only two I can play in the game. Oh, there's an astronaut skin. Nice. What's the difference between these two? Oh, one is a helmet. Duh. Death Stranding. Nice. PlayStation. Nice. Very nice. Ooh, there's gun skins too? Oh man, I should probably play through the first two games again just for the skins. Shit. It'll be a while though. What does Abby got? That one is kind of badass. Yeah, that definitely is. I just realized she's wearing makeup. Bunch of pop culture shirts. Nice. Very nice. Ooh. Nice. Very nice. Wait, there's more? What did I miss? Oh, I didn't. Alright. Change the behavior of the game? Okay. What? Reduces game speed? Why? Infinite ammo. Oh my god, infinite crafting? Are you kidding me? Infinite weapon durability, oh my god. All players' guns are one-shot kills. Jesus, touch of death. All player melee. Oh my god. Linetti, hello. Live. Love you, Linetti. Hope you're having a good night. Hope you, Andy, and the kids are doing okay. Hope everyone's having a good night. IAmScurge live. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. You're probably asking, Scourge, why are you still playing The Last of Us? You already beat the game. Well, there's more to play. I forgot. I totally forgot because you guys got me hammered that drinking stream. And I totally forgot that I meant to play more of Last of Us before hitting Detroit Become Human. So, and by more, I mean there's lost levels that you can play after you beat the game. And there's also a new game mode that they came out with when they're remastered, and I've heard nothing but good things about it, so fuck yeah. Same to you and yours. Hug babe, hug from me. Hells yeah, Panda's doing alright. She's tired, she's sleeping, well, not sleeping, she's in the sleeping cave right now, just resting. She wants to come into work early tomorrow. I want to play a little bit longer before I hit the sack too, and then yeah, I'm just looking up all this new shit I unlocked after I beat the game. Like basically, I can when I play the game again, I have these new skins right here. Check this out. So whenever I play Ellie in the game, I can like choose to like play in any of these skins. And I'm thinking they even have like these pop culture T-shirt skins. Like check this shit out. Death Stranding. That's Destiny right there. What the fuck else? You know, PlayStation shirt. But I want to rock this astronaut outfit. Chat, there's Pokemon. Hit that Pokecatch. The ones with non-vibrant colors look better. Yeah, for sure. I done. Wes, you done? I did not test to see if the computer works playing League. Sorry, buddy. She looked like a smelt fart. Hope you did well on the quiz, buddy. Traitor. Dude, I wanted to see what I unlocked. I had all this shit. It does kind of look like it. We have to find out. Okay. Oh, so hi. All right, let's see what's up. Here, I gotta switch my screen over real quick. I'll do it real quick, Wes. I'll do a test run, and I'll do custom match real quick and do a test run. If I can't run League, starts acting up, I'm not risking it, and then just shutting it off right away, because I do not want to have to shut off my entire computer just to do it. Don't need plebeians dragging me down, brah. But do not make me play a Mumu. A Mumu. Be so sad. Do, 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 do. Oh, there's an update, bro. It's just gonna take forever. I'm streaming. Oh wait, no, it's actually going really fast. Never mind. Alright, let's see what's up. I'm opening up a custom match right now. Skarner got reworked? Really? Damn. Can he still drag people around and shit though? Because I feel like that was the main thing about him. He's almost ridiculously overpowered. That's what I already thought about him. Create custom. Summoner's Rift. 1. Confirm. Start. I choose you with this and do this. Yes, but now 3, and he can run 3. He can ult 3. Wait, he can drag 3 people, and what did his ult do again? Oh wait, shit. Chat, my bad. A few things happened, I guess, when I was on that smoke break. Carnivore Cal with the follow. Cheers. I got rated. Holy shit! Thank you so much. And then Roddy 912 Rebel with the follow. Let's go. What up, man?
Can I borrow your grinder?
Yeah.
Or do you have Bud in it?
Yeah, there's Bud. I can just empty this out.
Ooh, I bought a diffuser for the bathroom. Yeah. I don't know where I put it.
I think I seen it on the floor of Panda Cave. Like walk
floor?
in, yeah. I saw. I remember it was out of place for me. Right when you walk in, just look down and a little bit to your left.
One's in there.
Yeah, go in the pan.
Left.
Yeah, Panda Cave. Right when you walk in, look down the floor and a little bit to the left.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. I remember it was like, huh? Who?
I was like, I was obliterated yesterday.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, you were.
We had 4 pitchers of beer.
4 pitchers?
And 2 car bombs. Not an ounce, not a lick of water. I felt terrible this morning.
I heard you puking.
Oh my god, I puked like 4 times.
Yeah, I heard it in the morning.
I threw up like at 7 in the morning, and then I threw up again at like 11. Too fucking much. I'll bring it right back up.
Yeah, for sure. Drag you. Oh, dude, Wes, I just realized I had a whole conversation with my brother, and it's not even loading up a custom match. Like, the shit's ridiculous. So, Control Alt Delete. Let's close this thing. Your computer sucks. I know, right? No, wait. Wes, was I playing League in my final moments at that old place? Because I don't remember. No, wait, I had to have been. Boom, yes! I was able to close it successfully. Alright, Yeah, I'm not gonna try it again. I really gotta figure this shit out. Like, it was doing it like pretty good for a bit, and then it's just not doing it anymore, and I don't know why. And I'm lazy and just probably just I know it's just like because I see every time I alt tab from League, dude. So that way I can clip something in my OBS. I see like in this bottom left hand corner saying like encoding like error or whatever, because it's just like I'm running OBS, I'm running League, I have Firefox open, like so that way I can clip it and keep an eye on my activity feed and shit. And then on this screen right here, I'm usually just like I have my streamers up and everything, like with more video playing and whatnot. And it's just like I had a tube system set up for a reason, like, cause like so that way I wouldn't have to deal with it. Like I would just like have my shit here with the two system set up, and then whenever I wanted to clip shit or type back to my chat or whatever, like there was a whole nother mouse and a little mini keyboard that was hooked up to the other computer, and it was like not even like basically it's like a phase shift, like it's like an alternate reality, and it's just like the keyboards are like it's like the smallest keyboard I can find, and like a wireless mouse would be hooked up to the streaming computer, and that's where I would do all my clipping and all that shit and whatnot. Experiencing a black screen after champion select in League of Legends can be quite frustrating. Fear not. Let's troubleshoot this issue together. Here are some potential solutions. Reset the network adapter. Sometimes network issues can cause black screen problem. Try resetting network adapter. You can do this by these 3 steps. Press Windows plus X and select network connections. Right click on your active network connection and choose disable. Wait a few seconds. Alright, just send it on Facebook. Dude, that's so much shit I gotta run through right now. Yeah, thanks for sending me this, dude. I gotta do this offline though. This is gonna take me a while, and I'm live. Yeah, that's a lot of options I did not consider. Holy shit, dude. Yeah, I gotta go through all these, but I'm live. Not go play Tilu. Yeah. I was just like, no, like all this shit, like I never heard of doing. So like, yeah, that's some shit I gotta go through. Alright, yeah, Tilu. I want to play the Lost Levels. There it is. Braza! Thank you very much. Where are my lost levels? Dude, I don't know if you saw it when you hopped in, but there's these gameplay modifiers you can play for, and it changes how the game is played and shit. And there's these cheats, right? So it's just like you can infinite ammo play this game, infinite crafting playing this game, infinite melee durability in this game, infinite listen mode, one shot. Like all your guns are one shot kills, all your melee attacks are one shot kills. Like. And then there's audio. Enables 8-bit audio distortion filter, early 90s vibe. 4-bit, giving an 80s vibe. Helium. Oh, that's hilarious. And then xenon pitches audio down as if atmosphere were filled with xenon gas. What the fuck? Yo. No fun? Yeah, that's why they're called cheats. There's a speed run. All these skins, guitar free play. I gotta go through all these at some point, but yeah. Where the fuck are my lost levels? In the story. There's New Game Plus. Is it in chapters? No, it isn't. Where the fuck are my lost levels? There we go. Of course it'd be under behind the scenes. Oh, there's a podcast? Alright, here are my lost levels. Let's go. There's 3 of them. Jackson Party, Seattle Sewers, and The Hunt. This level is presented in an unfinished pre-alpha state? That's a thing? Reflecting a state when it was originally cut from the game. This level does not have spoken dialogue, only placeholder lines shown as subtitles. Oh, okay. And this one says, this level is presented in an unfinished pre-alpha state, reflecting a state when it was originally cut from the game. Okay, so no other info, and it basically says the same thing. Looks like this is in order, so... Alright, chat. IAmScurge. Oh, stick figures only. I know, right? No, like, I remember I saw a clip, I think it was a YouTube short of, like, something in one of the lost levels, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Let's do it. So, IAmScurge live! If you're new, smash that follow. Greatly appreciate it. So, some love in the chat. Everybody, cheers all around. The Jackson Party. Developer commentary introduction video. You know what? Why not? Do we want developer commentary? Chat. Wes, do you mind developer commentary right now? See your live don't get cut off on Twitch. Oh. Huh. But it doesn't on Discord anyways? That is weird because it's not supposed to do that. I know I have it set to the right thing like it did with the last microphone. Check this. Well, I'm playing League. I mean, it's not world ending, but it's not as hype anymore. Yeah. Alright, I want to check out developer commentary. Might as well. Fuck it. It's interesting playing
play an unfinished level from The Last of Us Part 2. The reason we added this section is there are a few sequences, and we picked the 3 of the best ones that we cut from the game. You know, often we build a game that's much bigger than what ends up being the final product. They were months away from being finished, but we wanted to give you an insight of what it's like when we built the game, because often we have this whole thing constructed and it doesn't have final art or audio or dialogue. And here you get to see the building blocks of what it's like when we first string a bunch of these levels together. This is the intro to the first deleted level, and this one is the roughest of the three. We wanted to show more of how Jackson operates. So this is the festival where Ellie ultimately kisses Dina. This sequence would have come very late in the game as a flashback sequence while you're in the farm with Dina. And we wanted to show what is the rest of Jackson doing, and wanted to put on the stick, make it interactive. So you could see when you're outside, there are all these almost like carnival games that you can play. You could mix drinks, you could play with these kids that are playing a sort of clicker Marco Polo, sit down and listen to conversations. And all the different interactions were first or second pass, very, very early passes. The building blocks are there, but nothing is final. And ultimately, while we were very excited by the sequence, it's pretty fun and lighthearted. It just slowed things too much as we're barreling towards the end of the story at this point. So again, reminder, rough, missing audio, missing animation, missing gameplay tweaks, missing dialogue, but pretty representative of what it would have been. So enjoy.
Fair enough. I like that they gave us a heads up. But yeah, this is behind the scenes shit. Fuck it. Oh? Damn, she chugged that shit.
Originally, this level was going to transition us to farm. We would go all the way through to the dance, where Ellie and Dina share their first kiss. Then we would play through farm, and when Ellie plays the guitar at night, she would remember the Seth incident. So, the opening for this was a little tricky. We needed it to match at least a little what you might expect emotionally coming from prior beats, because we were already purposefully disorienting you in time and space. Remember, you just came from this huge fight. To jump straight into it would have been a little too jarring. After some back and forth, we rooted it in Ellie's nerves, calling back to her hands shaking in the theater. But this time, for a much more innocuous reason we'll find out later. She's nervous because she has a crush on Dina, who is the only reason why she's here at the dance. Something we really wanted to do was highlight the way their lives had turned upside down since she went down this path. We had this idea of recontextualizing all of our usual gameplay mechanics that were designed for really violent ends. The workbench, door bashes, throwable weapons, and even the infected, which is my personal favorite. Peppered throughout the level are moments of levity or shared history, all the while seeing how happy and mundane they all were before her huge revenge odyssey. It is not a festival without one of these throwing games. This one, of course, uses our throwable system where you're often chucking explosive things or stunning things, but for a more wholesome purpose, although some people take this game really seriously. A fun aspect of this is if you did well, you could win a toy here. Ellie would place it in her pocket. If you had done this, you'd find the toy with JJ, the baby, later back at the farm. When we cut this, the toy made it through anyway because it was so cute. It is the same one you see on the tractor at the farm. Ollie the elephant.
That's dope.
This is one of my favorite sections because I think that it achieves both the slice-of-life aspect of Jackson while also being a stark reminder of how dark the world that they live in really, really is. To attract attention and curiosity, one of the kids was supposed to make this adorable, messed-up little clicker impression, and the others would giggle. We tried a version where if you got close enough, the kid might try to follow you a little before turning back. Since clickers are blind and move by echolocation, for this game of messed up tag, Ellie must close her eyes and listen for when the children give themselves away. The thought was that these kids are in relative safety. they still grow up with the dangers of clickers and runners, and all those lessons would embed themselves in the games that they play. When the festival got cut, they tried to preserve this moment and move it to the front of the game where the snowball fight is, as a tutorial. However, being in the headspace of a clicker doesn't really teach you how to deal with them. Eventually, it evolved, and they instead made the snowball fight, which was, I think, way more effective. For me, it's character illuminating that not only does Ellie know this game, she plays along. There's a familiarity with the kids that's really nice to see, especially because it's such a difference from the Ellie we see later, who has a sort of hollow normalcy that she's trying to get with JJ, but kind of fails.
Fuck you, Ellie.
The makeup artist is pretty simple. It's one of those little in-game scenes we peppered in to make it feel like Ellie had roots in the town. Hallie, our writer, mentioned that in her mind, an ex-girlfriend of Ellie's tattooed her arm to cover up her scar. So we figured this might be the only time you get to see that. We wanted to hint at it and allude to it and make it feel like there had been so much more that had been happening and so much more that Ellie threw away.
Ooh. Shite. Alright, anything else? Alright, guess not. Alright, so there was that level. Next is Seattle Sewers. Let's fucking go, chat. IAmScurge live! If you're new, smash that follow, greatly appreciate it. Show some love in the chat, everybody. Cheers all around. Just got home. Yay! Glad you made it home safe, Nettie. Love you. So.
It's not always about the
Oh,
sometimes it's about the
Here, I'm gonna pee real quick, and then we're gonna play Seattle Sewers. Linetti, we're playing the lost levels of The Last of Us. I beat the game during my drinking stream. Oi! Linetti, were you there? My drinking stream? I'm pretty sure you were. But how would I know? I was drunk as shit. Linetti with the. Yes, you were. Let's go. Alright, I gotta use the bathroom real quick. Alright. I declare a second try. Oh, did you miss it? Alright. Let's see. Chat, this Pokemon hit that Poke Catch. Killowin, hello. How you doing? Hope you're having a good night. Thanks for the raid, earlier. Much appreciated. What I miss in chat though? Can't complain, bro. Yes, sir. Hells yeah, let's go. How's your stream? What'd you play? Here, let me give you that shout out. Apex. Let's go. Fuck yeah. You get any dubs tonight? Alright. IAmScurge live! Cheers, everybody. Cheers. If you're new, smash that follow. Greatly appreciate it. Show some love in the chat, everybody. Playing some Last of Us. I beat Last of Us Friday on a 300 follow celebration drinking stream. Now I'm playing the Lost levels, and I'm going to get into the new game mode after that. Let's go. You caught it. Let's go. Only played Apex. Let's go. Going to let phone get some charges on 3. Hopefully catch the rest of your stream afterwards. Yeah, go ahead. Let that thing charge. Go for it. Alright, Seattle Sewers. Let's go.
In this second deleted level, which is an extended sequence of the sewers in Seattle, this comes on the heels of where Ellie goes into a building and she survives an attack by stalkers and gets thrown out of a window and gets swept away by the current. And then we cut this section that used to be there in the final game. Now you will get to play it. So this was a way to get a bit more interesting puzzles, interesting traversal, figure out how Ellie can navigate the sewers with the fighting current. Ultimately, with a lot of these levels and these sequences, the reason why we cut them more for pacing purposes. But here it is for you in this very kind of raw form that part of it will feel finished, parts of it will feel like assets are missing as far as audio, animation won't be final. But it's a glimpse into what a game looks like when it's months away from finishing. Enjoy.
Ooh. Fuck off! Oh, it's still going. Shit, okay. Fuck Seattle.
This
This level, internally known as Fine Nora, was quite long in duration as we had to make Ellie traverse far distance to the opposite side of downtown Seattle. The sewer section was originally longer than what we released the game in, approximately 10 minutes more. This was one of the few areas of the game that used water flow as part of a traversal puzzle. The player has to go upstream to use the current to get to the platform to reach the other side. We mostly cut this mechanic game wide, however it remained in essence in the section swimming to the aquarium as Ellie when you were avoiding the waves.
Wait, I don't want to miss that commentary. How do I get there? Bucket. There we go.
The ladder acts as an immediate goal for the player, but being able to climb out is not going to be so easy. To keep levels interesting and engaging, we alternate between positive and negative values the player experiences. Here, it's a positive to have found a ladder, but then a negative to discover it's not the solution. But then another positive to identify the next short-term goal of the doorway. By alternating
It's all good, dude. They know there's drugs and alcohol.
Not how they expect it.
Yep. Cheers, chat. Lost levels, Last of Us, let's fucking go!
When players reach the doorway and enter into the room, they're faced with a dead end.
What have we got here?
The real reason for this dead end room is that on the reversal, when exiting back out of the doorway, players are faced with the route onwards. A pipe that they'd not been able to see when they were swept past it on the way in, and something that was hidden from view when on the side platforms. The intention here being that the only option is to go off the standard path in order to search for a way out.
Ooh, what's in the journal? Okay.
When players reach the doorway and enter into the room, they're faced with a dead end. The real reason for this dead end room is that on the reversal, when exiting back out of the doorway, players are faced with the route onwards. A pipe that they'd not been able to see when they were swept past it on the way in, and something that was hidden from view when on the side platforms. The intention here being that the only option is to go off the standard path in order to search for a way out.
Get me the hell out of here.
Throughout the rest of the level, we also use light to indicate to the player that they were heading in the right direction. At each turn, however, we block the direct route forward. Players would know that they just have to keep finding alternative paths, promoting those feelings of being desperate and trapped. We slowly introduce the player to consider climbing into smaller pipes and crouching in these tight spaces. This is to slowly build up to, and encourage, the player to climb into such a small pipe that they'd have to be crawling on their stomach, which is something that the player previously may not have recognised as a playable space,
Keep going up and out.
let alone the desired route they need to take. We added a tiny space just to reward the player's exploration with a pickup item, and we made sure it was something that made sense that you'd find in this area. A canister and all the garbage that had been washed into the sewers from the surface.
Okay. I have a trap mine, arrows, and I haven't done a reload check, chat. Shit. I'm probably gonna deal with infected, and let's keep this shotgun. Yeah. Alright. Let's go. I only have 2 bullets for this thing. That's weak. Ooh. Alright. Best weapon in the game. Let's go.
We love the idea of making Ellie prone through a tiny, dirty pipe in order to get out, as it was a great opportunity to use our prone mechanic. The unique camera setup was created to support crawling in these pipes, as the standard prone camera is much higher above the player. We also created custom collision in order for Ellie to manoeuvre in these tight spaces easily. Initially, the oblong collision capsule around her character caused issues crawling around corners. We put extra effort into the custom corner collision, so the movement experience is as smooth as the main game. In order for the player to feel cramped, claustrophobic and desperate, we'd been enforcing the traversal mechanics that allow for a tight environment which promote these feelings. We introduced the use of the squeeze through so that we can keep the player feeling enclosed and tight, but without repeating the same geometry. Here we change from low ceilings with wider walls to high ceilings and tight walls to change up the spatial pacing and keep the level from repeating itself.
Yeah.
Originally, we had the waterline much higher here, so players had to swim through this tight tunnel. However, from watching user test feedback, it was occasionally causing people to discount the route entirely and turn back on themselves. So to avoid any risk of this happening in the final game, we present a lower water level so the tunnel is easy to see and commit to using. Although this isn't as impactful without the prone swim, it's the better decision as it means a smoother experience for the player with no backtracking frustration.
Come on.
We draw the player towards this pipe as it is seemingly the route out of the tight space. Fairly soon it is obvious that this path is blocked. If the player goes all the way up to the bars that block the path, they are rewarded with a pickup so this journey doesn't feel wasted. It was important to encourage the player to try to progress along this path so that they would subtly be thinking of progress in this direction. We hint to the player that there is a bigger, new space beyond this pipe by showing the player the waterfall. This helps players consider the other route where they don't know how far the tunnel is or whether they'd make it.
Oh, shit. There's infected stuff here. Oh. That's a clicker. Yo! Oh, man, that PTSD is real. Fuck me. She's terrified. Look at her.
Oh shit!
chat, there's a Pokemon. Hit that Pokecatch. Let's see if I have this one. Recommended Magnet Ball. B tier. Alright, cool. I already got it.
For the final section, we eventually opened you out into a wider area as you traverse through such tight spaces leading up to this. So changing the environmental pacing makes it begin to feel like we're coming to the end of Ellie's ordeal. An earlier iteration used the
Do you know who else is B tier?
current that we'd shown at the start for a slightly tougher traversal puzzle to conclude the sewers. The ladder was clearly visible from most of the area, but the player was faced with a fast-flowing torrent of water they couldn't cross. If the player attempted to jump into the water, they were not able to swim across the ladder due to the water's speed. But instead, they had to traverse the pipe running along the top of the space in order to get across the water.
Wait, where am I supposed to go? Oh, duh. Open this door. Nope, never mind. Oh, okay. Here we go.
This is the first time we get to see stalkers that are embedded into the walls. So this optional room is a nice little early extra that the player gets if they explore. We also use the pickups to lure players over to be close enough to trigger the stalker's attack. And this caused quite a few jump scares with user testers who played our game before its release.
Oh, my Ellie bitch.
This is the first time we get to see stalkers that are embedded into the walls. So this optional room is a nice little early extra that the player gets if they explore. We also use the pickups to lure
Yes,
players
give me
over
that,
to be close enough
please.
to trigger the stalker's attack.
And might as well
Quite a
build
few
another
jump scares with
bomb.
user testers who played our game before its release.
Alright. Wait, is there nowhere else from here? Oh, I have an idea. Maybe I should actually try climbing up here. There we go. There we go. Fuck yeah, let's go. Progress.
Using this pipe was retained in the iteration we shipped with, as it's the last of the extreme methods Ellie has to undergo in order to escape the sewers, and what she will go through in her pursuit of revenge. The last ladder climb is quite lengthy. And although we could have trimmed it down to a shorter climb, we liked how this last segment of the journey built anticipation for whether there was success at the top or not after all you've been through. Ultimately, the ladder exits out into the subway station, which is how it connects in the final game. Ellie then has to find her way to the hospital from here, crossing paths with the scars for the first time.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's how she got into that woods area. Okay, cool. That was pretty dope. Alright, one more lost level. It's called The Hunt.
For this third and final deleted level, what we call the boar hunt sequence, this was a sequence pretty late in the game. It was right after the whole Seattle Abby sequence where Abby spares Ellie. And then we wanted to come back into Ellie's story, but keep it a bit mysterious of how much time has passed, where is Ellie now? So we're coming in on Ellie and she's following a trail of blood. And we wanted to mirror in a way the deer hunt sequence from the first game, but this time do it with a boar. And there's something with Ellie that now she can't let go of this violence. She's pursuing it, even against this innocent animal. This was another opportunity to show how the violence that Ellie has experienced, the violence that she witnessed being afflicted onto Joel, is
True damage used to be fearsome because it completely ignored armor and magic resist, but what really made it fearsome was that it made a huge impact and it was rare. Not everyone does true damage, diluting its value. Damn it, Riot, you did this to yourself with your increasingly ridiculous champions. Increasingly ridiculous champions. Damn, bruh.
still sticking with her, and she's still experiencing these PTSD moments. This was a sequence that was pretty far along and was cut pretty late in production. Parts of it are still really rough, but the gameplay, the building blocks were all there. I think you'll have fun to see, like, again, a rough, unfinished sequence that you can play. You can see all the way to the end, and including a cinematic that we end up cutting. And the remnants of the sequence ended up being mentioned in Ellie's journal. So this part of the story that we developed still made its way into the game as kind of optional stuff that you could read about, but here you get to experience it. So as a reminder, this is pretty rough, months away from being finished, but you get to see it now.
Rat moment, yeah, I get it. You can't milk those. Alright, last lost level chat, let's go.
Where are you?
So the boar hunt was one of the hardest levels for me to work on. It was a huge challenge with the systems that we had, and we kept trying, but it never felt quite right. Originally, the level happened after the Jackson Festival, which also got cut, but before Farm. Once the festival got cut, it became the prologue to Farm. The intended experience is that we jump forward in time after the fight with Abby in the theater. We don't know where Dina is. We likely assume she's dead because she was just bleeding out. Ellie is alone. Her hair is short. So maybe this is the future or the present. And she's hunting. Hunting who? Abby still? In early iterations of the fight, it was more arena-like. The player slowly whittles down the boar's health. Ellie gets more visceral and more vicious. We get a little worried about her. As the boar gets weaker, more panicked, more feral, and we start feeling sympathetic to the boar was the hope. In all of these iterations, especially of these wider areas, it required custom AI and scripting to make sure it continued to feel organic as an animal, but we really needed it to do specific stuff. It needed to be able to close distances really, really quickly. It needed to charge to attack, but we wanted the feeling of hunting, so we needed to track it down from afar. And we also needed to discourage the player from attacking the boar when it's that close, or it would kind of turn into this melee kerfuffle. How do we do this in our world while keeping the boar believable? We must have gone through 5 or 6 iterations of the boar fight and all, and every single time it changed pretty drastically. We split it into clear phases, where one was like all long range. We tried another where you're getting close and you get the jump on it quite literally. You're jumping off of a rock to attack it. And then finally, we tried a bunch where you almost sort of go around a bunch of trailers and try and wrestle it. We uncovered after some time that taking down a boar over several phases felt very laborious and a little dramatic. It was comically long. It felt too boss-like, a little too gamey. We decided to cut the first few phases, and we opted for a cold open after the boar had already been hurt off screen. So that allowed us to focus on feeling like we're closing in on prey and to introduce the boar when it was at its most dangerous. Already hurt, already feral, much too close for comfort. And so the thinking was it would bring us more into Ellie's mindset. Is this really hunting for food, or is she hunting for some other reason? The gas station was built to highlight the boar's destructiveness. Since it's cramped, the boar feels larger. We also feel trapped with it, or perhaps it's trapped with us. When it charges, it gets to us quickly, so we must be on our toes. This made it more aligned with Ellie's sort of hunting for trouble mindset. Listening became more important, as well as moving around slowly so it didn't hear you. Could you spot it before it saw or heard you? And could you get a shot off quickly enough so you could dodge out of the way? Or is the shot worth the cost after? It feels like a gamble. By the end of the fight, everything would likely be in shambles. The boar would burst through the back, and Ellie would follow it and finally enact revenge.
It's over. Nowhere to run.
The boar kill was supposed to be anything but glorious, with the boar whimpering at the back of the gas station after Ellie's relentless hunt.
Done.
After this, hearing the drone that we kind of come to associate with Ellie's trauma, we would hard cut to the stream where she's washing her hands and holding rabbits that she hunted, about to return to Dina. And there would be no mention of the boar.
What's her trauma? What's Ellie's trauma? Cannibals? Yeah, sure. The cannibals. Oh shit. Oof. This is spoiler territory. Damn. Oh, right. Alright, yeah, that was all 3 levels. Alright, that was interesting. This is behind the scenes here. How long is this? Oh, there's a bunch of videos. Making Last of Us Part 2, making the Last of Us trailer, the reveal trailer. Yes, I haven't seen this in forever. This was the trailer that finally got me to play the first game, Wes. So fucking good.
No, I can't walk on the path of the right, 'cause I'm wrong.
What are you doing, kiddo?
Oh,
You really gonna go through with this?
I'm gonna find, and I'm gonna kill every last one of them.
okay. For the rest of my stream, I'm gonna go back and replay the first game. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's late. Where's Sari? Are you still in chat? I'm down to watch an episode of Fian real quick. This one's 2 hours. Oh my god. bunch of podcast episodes here too. Holy shit. Bracia New Beth, dude, I don't understand that pagan shit. Jackson. I gotta pay to unlock these. How do I get more of this? Do I have to keep playing the game again? I feel like all these should be unlocked for me since I beat the game. Shit. Um... It fell. Oh, you said you're... Alright, cool. Alright, chat. We're switching back over to a watch party.